Coming to you from the land of the rising sun
and down under.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm Jeri.
And this is Distant Relatives. Sweating profusely.
Whoa. Why? What's the weather there?
Oh my gosh, it's so hot and heavy. Hot and humid.
Really?
Yeah, it's raining right now and it's summer. It's, full on summer.
Like, what's the temperature right now?
Huh. Let's ask Siri. Hey Siri, what's the temperature right now?
It's about 28 degrees outside.
That's not bad. That's
bad.
So good. I want to be there.
Yeah, I really like it. Don't get me wrong. I love this weather. You just get so sweaty because it's very humid. So what's going on there? Is it still cold?
It's freezing every day. Like, it's so hard to wake up in the mornings. So right now, it's 12 degrees.
What time is it?
It is 6:23 p.m.
Also, it's gonna get colder.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Especially in the mornings. But yeah, I'd rather be there than here.
Yeah, I know. You know what? There's a song here in Japan.
What?
That it went really viral. It's about you can't get out of your futon because it's so cold.
Really?
Yeah. I totally understand you because I know that feeling. I don't want to get out of it.
Yeah,
because it's just too cold. It's so comfortable.
Yeah, you just want to wrap yourself in a burrito and just, hibernate.
It's like a warm hug. Especially when you're alone.
Whoa. You poor thing.
Yeah, I'm just sending those vibes out there.
Oh, single and ready to mingle. Okay.
Okay, before we get into our updates, just to recap on the last episode, we really took a sharp turn right there, right, Jeri?
Yeah, it was about racism in America. So
yeah, it was a very heavy topic.
But it's something that's important to talk about. The issues aren't over, it's still happening.
That's true. And for our situations right now, we are also in some sort of systemic oppression as well, even in the Philippines. And we just really need to know what we can do moving forward, and keeping the conversation alive is one of the smallest things that we can do. So we're sorry we weren't able to talk much about our side because we really just wanted to know more about how it was in America. Yeah. But if you haven't listened to it, please check it out. Okay, so updates, Jer. What's going on over there?
Updates. In Australia, Sydney is fine, like New South Wales is fine in terms of coronavirus inflections.
Inflections?
in terms of coronavirus infections.
Okay.
But the thing is, in Melbourne, it's way worse now. So we don't know what happened. But the first time in years, New South Wales closed its borders to Melbourne, so Melbourne can't enter Sydney. So that's a big deal.
Oh, wow.
It's a really big deal.
So it's that bad.
Yeah, like a lot of people in Sydney are really scared for Melbourne. So yeah, we pray for Melbourne, and we hope that the Melbourne people get through this and keep safe, everyone.
Even in Victoria, the last time you were saying that Victoria was also not good.
It's really bad there. We don't know why though. So as in, it's so bad that when we find people from Melbourne in here with like, what do you call this, with the high infection rate areas, they can get fined to up to $11,000 for being here. God. If they get caught, like if they see the postal code in their address, like, hey, you're from Melbourne with this address, and then $11,000
How would they know
fine.
though? Are there random checks for this?
I have no idea, honestly. I don't know. But the Australian government has a pretty good way of tracking people. Yeah, tracking people. So I don't know how they'll do it, but I'm sure they're pretty capable to do it.
I'm just curious, like, what if they were just there when the border shutdown happened and then they couldn't go back?
I don't know. Probably they'll be questioned and stuff.
Poor them,
and
though.
They'll check. Yeah, it's gonna be scary.
$11,000. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, how about in Japan? What's up?
Okay, so here in Japan, the numbers are also rising. So in Tokyo, it has risen to up to 200 a day.
Ooh,
I'm scared for my life. I really don't want to go out. And now that the WHO has approved, can I say approved? Like, they admitted that the virus can be transmitted airborne in closed spaces. So like getting to the trains And some people don't have masks on. And that is really frightening, you know?
Japan is such a mask-wearing country.
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing there, isn't it?
But here, because it's summer now, it's really hard to put a mask on. It's going to be so hot. But there's some Japanese people who are being coined as mask police.
Mask police? What's that?
So they call out or verbally attack those who don't have masks on.
Oh.
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I was watching the news and there was a woman on a train who saw a man going in without a mask, and she pressed the emergency button to stop the train, to call in like the train masters and like called it out, and like it was all over the news. So it was that big of a change.
What happened to the non-mask wearing guy?
He was just confused. Like he was questioned, was like asked to like go out and everything, but to that extent, like there are people who are really paranoid and scared for their lives. But
well, I completely understand.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, especially there, if a lot of people are wearing masks and then this one guy just comes in the train.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen in the train, and then you can get infected quickly. So
exactly,
I understand the person who pressed the button.
Yeah, me too. I totally understand the feelings, but I mean, I don't think I would press the button. No. But yeah, I mean, the purpose of wearing a mask is so that you, the person who's wearing the mask, wouldn't transfer it to the other people around them, right? So
yeah,
it's common courtesy, right?
That's scary. That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want to go out anymore as much as possible.
So do you still work? Like, I mean, do you go to the office physically?
Yeah, I still go. I still have to go. So
how many times a week?
Just once a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not every day. I would call myself luckier than most people who have to go every day.
Yeah, well, keep safe always, even if it's just once a week.
Jer. You too.
Okay.
This is an awe moment right here.
Yeah. Lovely.
Okay, virtual hugs.
Hug.
Yeah, the last time I got a hug was probably like,
oh my gosh. You can't even
physical
remember.
Contact, people.
You poor thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Single and ready to mouse.
There you have it. You heard it here first. Okay, so what are we talking about in this episode?
Okay.
Here?
So for this episode, we are gonna talk about Kuya Kyle and how he was able to find work in Japan.
Yeah.
How was the situation there? Like what he did to apply and all that jazz.
Yeah, so following Jeri's episode, we want to also shed light on the struggles of finding work here in Japan. So just a disclaimer, I will be talking about my own experience and the experience of the people around me. Some stories that I have. Okay, so let's get into it.
Okay, so first off, like, what did you want to do when you were a kid? Like, what was your childhood dream job?
Man, when I think about it, I really wanted to be a scientist here when I was a kid.
Oh.
And like the science is really it was really interesting. And so because, when I was thinking of science, one of the options was becoming a doctor. And I really wanted to become a doctor that in high school, the OJT, the on-the-job training program that we had in school, I chose to do the doctor path. And I did my OJT at a hospital.
How was it?
It was really, it was a fun, very wonderful learning experience. But then because of my experience, it was the reason why I didn't want to become a doctor anymore.
So you were traumatized.
Yeah, like super traumatized.
Ooh,
like there was this so there was this kid who had this huge like gash on like his foot.
Ooh.
And he was like bleeding profusely everywhere. Yeah. And then it was so bad, like the sight of blood was just making me like queasy the whole time.
Yeah.
And then because we had to like stitch it up. So I mean, I'm not the one who was going to stitch it up, but I just needed to support because the kid was like, he was like moving around so roughly.
He was flailing.
Yeah, he was flailing. We had to like pin him down. And then like he was still like moving around really, really bad. Like the injection, you would see it like piercing through one side and out the other. And like, oh my god. Anyway, So that was the end of my medical career.
And just like that, the dream is over.
Yeah. But in college, my first course was vet med in UP Los Baños.
Oh, so you still proceeded to do like a similar type of field?
Yeah, I really wanted to, continue it. But then, I don't know, I was just such a kid back then that I really couldn't handle being so far away from family and friends because UPLB was really far. It was 4 hours away from where I lived, and I decided to transfer to UP Diliman. And they didn't have vet med. What I decided to do was go into something that I thought would be interesting for me, and that was food technology.
Wait, why was food technology interesting for you?
I don't know. It was just like a science course, and I still wanted to be some sort of scientist, I guess. But then,
maybe like our tita was an influence to you as well, because she's a food.
Yeah, that was also a big help. She really helped me decide into it.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, food tech is pretty cool.
Yeah, but I found out as well that it wasn't for me, I guess. I mean, I'm not practicing it anymore. Yeah. So after that, I decided to go to Japan. I mean, I still love food tech. It was a really good course, and I would have continued it if I didn't love Japan so much.
Wait. Okay, so there's a huge gap between UPLB vet med and then UP food tech and then all the way to Japan. So like, what made you do that whole switch?
Well, if you really want to know more, it's in episode 5.
Hey,
good plug.
Yes.
So now that so when I transferred to Japan, I had a student visa because I went into a Japanese language school because at first I just really wanted to study Japanese. But living in Japan, it's a first world country. The living expense here is high, so I really needed to make money. So naturally, I needed to find a job.
What was the limitations in the student visa when finding jobs?
Oh, yeah, that's right. For student visas, you are only allowed... Actually, student visas, you're not allowed to work here in Japan, but you can get a permit so that you are allowed to work. And there's a limit per week, 28 hours a week.
Do some students get denied the permit?
I'm not really sure, but it's not something you get from the start. It's something you have to apply for
so
when you get into Japan.
you really have to apply for it. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah, but for long vacations, you're allowed to work 8 hours a day, so at least you can get more money. Okay,
so was the 28 hours a week enough?
Actually,
how did you do that?
If you think about here in Tokyo, the minimum wage is around 1,000 yen an hour.
Ooh.
So that's 500
pesos an hour.
Yeah.
Damn.
So it's pretty...
That's what people get in a day.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
In a whole day in the Philippines.
Oh my gosh,
that's what I got in a day.
Oh my gosh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, but that's pretty big though. Anyway.
No, it's not.
Really? Okay.
A day?
I'm sorry. I don't know. I mean, I've never worked in the Philippines. Just a heads up. So, yeah, my first experience at work was here in Japan. I did part-time in the Philippines, so that's different. Yeah, I just needed to look for work. And it would be enough, I guess, because 28,000 yen a week, 100,000 yen a month, basically. And so for the first year of my life, I couldn't, it was really hard to enjoy. But I had fun. I mean, it's something I chose to do, so I just had to stick to it.
Okay, so when you got to Japan, how long was your preparation period, or what was your timeline?
For finding a job, because you need Japanese for most of the jobs here, most of the part-time jobs here in Japan, unless you're an English teacher, I needed to learn Japanese first. And I knew a very, very little Japanese for the first 3 months. I was just, building it up. And then I started looking for a job. Actually, I tried looking for an English job there. I just wanted to squeeze the story in that I wanted to do an English speaking job, but I wasn't allowed because...
why?
The email said specifically that we're looking for people from native English speaking countries. Toot, 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 and toot. I won't say the countries, but yeah, they didn't allow me because I was Filipino. Yeah,
that's not fair.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know the system.
Because technically, we were taught English. Like,
yeah, it's one of our national languages.
Yeah, it's our second language, so we know a lot about like grammar and stuff.
Yeah, they would say that we speak
even
better
in America,
than some
they
countries.
don't teach. Yeah, like we're more like grammatically correct in terms of speaking.
Relatively, yeah.
Yeah, relatively.
But yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah,
well,
it happens.
If you did an English job, that would defeat the purpose of you going to Japan.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
wanted
true.
to learn Japanese anyway.
Although I really needed money at first, it turned out for the better.
Yeah. How long until you were able to find a job?
So for the first 3 months, I wasn't actually looking for it.
Okay, so you were like resting and adjusting.
Yeah, really adjusting and trying to build my my language skills first.
So how did you find your first job?
Okay, so for part-time jobs, there are many ways to find a job. So one is like in Australia, there would be post signages on the window, and you can do, but you call the numbers. I don't actually know if people walk in, so I'm not sure about that concept. Another way is there are a lot of free magazines, train stations, convenience stores where there would be job listings. So because everything is Japanese, it was very daunting for me. So I really couldn't get myself to like find a job through that at first. So I went through a third option, and my first job I found through Craigslist.
Craigslist?
Yeah.
Like, what? I didn't know you can find jobs in Craigslist.
You know what? Actually, there's so many things you can do in Craigslist. It's an online community board.
What?
Aside from the job, actually, that's where I first found my furniture.
What?
Yeah, so there's a free section in Craigslist. For those who are looking for free furniture in Japan, you can find it through Craigslist. And okay, so this is just a side story.
Wow, tell me.
Okay, I found a refrigerator
in Craigslist
for free. But because I was poor and everything. I don't have a car. I don't have any means for it to be delivered. So I contacted this person, and they said, okay, you can come in and get it for free. So I was like, okay, where is it? So it was like a train away. So I go over there.
Okay.
And I walked probably a good 10 minutes to the house, and I picked up the refrigerator, and the guy was like, okay, so where's your car? And I'm like, I don't have a car. And he was like, how are you gonna bring this back to your place? And I was like, your guess is as good as mine. So what I did was, the only option I had was the trains, basically.
What? How big was the refrigerator?
It was pretty big. It was like up to my chest size.
What?
Yeah.
That's like 5 feet?
Almost, yeah. Well, I think, around that. I think I still have a picture. Maybe I can send it to you later. I'll show everyone the picture.
No way. Yeah. So you brought the refrigerator with you and carried it to the train.
Yeah, and like the train masters, my legit fear was like maybe they would think I was stealing it. Yeah. But I'm happy that they didn't, and they were just laughing at me. As I was like lugging it into the train tracks and everything.
You're so crazy.
Yeah, like
I would literally laugh at you if I see you do that. That's so crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
you didn't even bring any ropes or anything, or
no, I was just like hugging it.
What do you call that? Like a push cart.
Imagine me like just like walking slowly into the train, and like the people in the train. I'm glad that I picked the right time. It wasn't crowded or anything. Okay. But I was getting really bad stares. Of course, it's
for sure
not common sense. But yeah, that's how I got my first. That's not the only story I had. I also have a washing machine story, a shelf story. I have so many stories.
And you just carried them yourself and brought them to the train. What?
I'm a foreigner. I don't have a car.
Things you do for free.
If anyone out there, if you have a car, contact me. I need help.
Whoa, that's a general call to action.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a car,
please call me. I need help. Anyway, so back to the job finding. So I found my first job, and
Yeah, because when I think of Craigslist, I just think of CD exchanges.
Oh.
So it's weird that you were able to find a job.
Well, I mean, maybe I should have like known better.
Oh, how
because
come?
it was a pretty seedy job. So I was happy at first because, you know, it was an English speaking job and it was a waiter job.
Oh, okay. So you're a waiter, which isn't seedy at all.
Wasn't seedy at all. Yeah, it's an Irish pub.
Okay.
It was an Irish pub at Shinjuku. So I go to the place and I find out that it was at a seedy place in Shinjuku. And I was like, oh.
Okay.
Anyway, so I just go in and so the requirements for the job, actually, it's basically just write a resume in Japanese. And then you have an interview and they just ask you about yourself and like what position you want to take and stuff like that. But it was in English, so I was very comfortable with the language and I got the job.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Yeah. So there was a training period and everything. So it was really tough. Because there are a lot of Japanese customers. I really had to like up my Japanese as well. Yeah, but it was seedy because like during the training sessions, we were told that we needed to reject a certain demographic of people.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just gonna say it's like the YKZs, if you know what the YKZs are.
They're like gangs, guys.
Yeah. So
gangs. Yeah.
But I was like, how do you even know? Right? Like if they're
like how would you know which one's
exactly
which?
Like should I just like, hey, you look like a gang person. You're not allowed here. Go home. I don't even know. But yeah, so
oh my gosh. What if you just look like an Instagram baddie and
wow.
then you come in?
What are those, Jer? Please explain.
No, some people dress really gangish, you know, like
I mean,
for fashion
we don't want to
stuff.
judge people based on their looks.
Yeah.
We discussed that so much
how
already.
would you be able to tell then?
So I actually don't know. But it's really scary, you know, having to deal with these people. What if they kill me? I don't know.
They probably can.
They probably can. And it was my first 3 months in Japan and no very, very, very low skill Japanese. How do I even reject like go home desu? I don't know. Kaite kudasai. I don't know. How do I do that?
Go home desu. Go home desu.
So there's this card thing that you show them. And that's how you reject. So I didn't even think like, you know, that I would have to do it. But one day, there was this 2 people coming in and I was about to like usher them in the store. And the manager was like, no, these are the people I was trying to tell you about. And then I was like, huh?
How do you know though?
I don't know. I mean, typical gang people would have like, they would say like a cut pinky. They cut like the finger off and they would have like tattoos like all over the place, right?
Oh, okay. I think the cut pinky would be
but I mean, I didn't bother to check like the fingers or anything. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so stressful.
I don't know if they're still doing it now, but yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so tattoos don't really have a good image.
That's really sad because now I remember. I went to Japan and then I went to this like really popular onsen place. Like it's like the Sogo of onsens.
The Sogo? What do you mean, Jerry?
No, because you know you see Sogos everywhere. Like it's in every city, in every area.
I was like,
it's like that. It's like lots of onsens of that branch and stuff all around the city. And then I went there and I have a little tiny cute tattoo on my wrist of a mountain. Like a really little tattoo. And then I saw tons of signs like if you have a tattoo, you're a gang member person, so you're not allowed to enter our onsen. And I'm like, what the fudge? And I'm like, I am not a gang person. So I was like, I went up to the lady in the store, in the stall thing, and I was like, hi, can I enter the place? Because I have a really small tattoo, but you know, I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, you're a foreigner. I mean, how would you be part of a gang?
I'm a foreigner, yeah.
Well, we're not sure.
And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry, but we can't let you enter the place. And I was like, oh my goodness, they're like really strict.
They're really,
like that.
Strict.
Yeah, so I had to leave. But, I mean, and I wasn't able to get my onsen experience.
Yeah, I mean, which is really brave for you for one, because you have to be really butt naked and you were with your mom. So like I was
I didn't say I was with my mom. You preempted the conversation.
Yeah, but I know I was there, Jeri.
Yeah. Don't include that part.
Okay, yeah. So I was like really brave, you're going to like be full naked with your mom, and I'm like, that's some connection you have there.
I did not know we needed to be naked. Like, couldn't we just use the towel and stuff?
I mean, yeah, but you still have to like strip down and everything. So
I mean,
you get used to it. I'm so used to it.
I wanted to feel. Ooh.
What?
And you're naked with other people?
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. I mean, you get used to it. You stop getting embarrassed after a few times. After 300 times.
And then they just don't care, even if you're a foreigner.
Care.
Like,
you don't look at each other. You don't go there and stare at people.
How do you know? What if they're
I don't know. I mean,
in the onsen?
I don't judge. I just, if people come to me and talk to me, I would be like, I'll just give back the conversation.
So some people talk to you in the onsen?
Yeah, some people talk, yeah. I mean, it's a very social place. It's a place to talk.
See, I want to go there. I want to try and be liberated and free.
Some onsens now, some places accept tattoos now, so.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, just to put it
I mean, they
there.
don't have to generalize and say everybody is a gang member. I mean,
that's
come
true.
on.
But yeah, so that's how I quit.
The end of the dream.
Sorry. But yeah, I mean, I was just so scared. And I said I told my manager like a few days after that incident, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh.
So I quit that
Did he
job.
understand or?
I don't know. I mean, he was really disappointed because, there was training time. And
they took the time to train you.
Yeah, and everything. But I was like, I'm really sorry. I mean, I didn't want to, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's scary to handle people like that. And then you have to try and guess which is which. So that's hard.
I just couldn't do it.
Technically, you have to judge them.
Exactly.
Okay, that's so interesting. I didn't know stuff like that even happens.
Yeah, it's so weird, yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so... so after that, then what did you do? Like, so you looked for other work or what? Yeah,
I did. So I went to the magazine thing at the station. So I summed up the courage and I called and everything. Mm-hmm. And I found this dishwashing job.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was one of the jobs that, was available for me because I couldn't speak that much. And I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to be able to move up to the jobs where, speaking would be involved. And one of those actually is a waitering job. It's one of the most coveted jobs by exchange students here in Japan because it really shows your skill.
You have to practice and talk to different people.
You need to be able to converse.
Okay, so interesting because you did waitering and then you did dishwashing. What other jobs did you do?
Oh, I did so many jobs. Like, I did kitchen work. I cooked, Jer.
Oh.
Yeah, at the kitchen.
Do you need a special permit to cook?
I don't know, actually. Maybe if there's someone who can supervise you. I don't know, because they didn't ask that for me. And I was really surprised that, they just let me. Because I don't know, I don't think I'm a good cook, but yeah, I was cooking for people and people were eating my works of art.
Wow, that's so weird.
Yeah. But yeah,
what did you cook?
Many things. I learned how to cut sushi. I learned how to cook like the karaage and everything. I did yakitori and stuff. I did so many things.
So, how about ramen?
Ramen, yeah, I know how to make ramen. Can you make a good ramen? Yeah, I can make a good ramen.
Damn.
So, if anyone wants ramen, I'm just kidding. Just selling myself out. Just the whole episode.
Very wifey material.
Wow. Yeah, I'll be a house husbando. That's the dream.
That's the dream.
Yeah. So, yeah. I also did English teaching jobs. And those are very high paying, so it was really good. Yeah, just to say that not all English teaching places are prejudiced, so... Like,
based on what you're saying, it's not that hard to find a job in Japan, even if you're a foreigner.
Okay, just to make it clear, by that time, I was fortunate enough to have... there's this thing called the Japanese Language Proficiency Test. And there are levels for it. So N1 is the highest, N5 is the lowest. For example, Starbucks here, like some places would require an N1 for part-time jobs, just for part-time. And most places would accept like N3, N2. Okay. By that time, I had an N2. So I was able...
Which is pretty high.
Yeah, it was pretty high. So I was able to get jobs easier than other people. Wow. Japanese language is a very, very important thing when you work here. So
definitely.
Yeah, so it's not easy for everyone.
But it was easy for you.
Easier for me because I worked hard for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. Okay, so you've done a lot like part-time jobs. Yeah. So now you're working a full-time job, right?
Yes.
So tell us about how you got that. Like, what's the application process and everything?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like, you were telling me about the application process in Australia.
Yeah.
It's a whole different monster here.
I can imagine. So, tell us all about it. I'm so excited.
So just a disclaimer, this experience of mine is from a perspective of someone who was a student. So I came from a university.
Okay.
Some people might find work from the Philippines, from other countries, direct to Japan. But the process that I'm going to talk about is what a regular student, Japanese and foreign exchange students, would experience when they look for work.
Automatically, when you graduate, you get a working visa.
No, you need to have a company to be able to sponsor that visa for you.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, so not all companies are able to sponsor visas for foreigners. So it really depends on your credentials. You must graduate from a university. You must have a bachelor's degree, basically.
Okay.
To be able to get the working visas. But some visas, you'd accept blue-collar worker as well. But yeah, so that doesn't really require a university degree. So it really depends on the work. Yeah, you really have to pick a job that is in line with what you studied and everything because that matters.
So what did you graduate as?
Okay, so I had a degree in food technology from the Philippines. And here in Japan, it was liberal arts. So it was... you can understand how confused I am, right? I don't really have anything. So I'm jack of some trades, master of none. Some trades.
Just a few.
So, here in Japan, most people would start considering looking for their jobs from their second year. That far
second year in college.
Yeah, second year in college. During that time, they would take seminars on like job hunting, looking for self-analyses, research on industries. Some would do internships. Some would start already visiting companies. And I don't know, Jeri, tell me if you experienced this in the Philippines, because I never experienced this in the Philippines.
Never. Only with OJT that they require us to do in the third year.
Right.
But that's it.
I'm not sure if people get absorbed to the companies after that. Maybe some would, but it's not really for job hunting.
I know a lot of my friends, like during OJT, they tried to get like a really good company that they were eyeing already.
Oh, I see.
And then I know some of them got absorbed in it like after graduating.
I see.
So yeah,
it's different per person.
Like it is. Okay, continue.
Okay, so here you start from the second year.
That's
but usually,
really early.
Yeah, really early. But usually people would start from their third years. So for us in the Philippines, we look for jobs after we graduate, right?
Yeah.
For most people. But here, while you're a student, you start job hunting already. You know why?
Ooh, why?
Because here, job hunting has a schedule.
A schedule?
Yes. So there's a period in time in the year where job hunting occurs. And it's usually from April to mid-year. And then that's the only time when you can start looking for work. And then you start work the year after. So if you miss that year, if you're not able to find a job within that year, you'd have to try again the next year.
What? That's... that's so scary. Like, what if you don't get a job?
Yeah, I mean, so for us foreign exchange students, it's harder because we need the visa, right?
Yeah.
So for Japanese people, some of them would just get part-time jobs while they're looking for the next for a company for the next year.
Okay.
But for us, we don't really have much of an option.
Yeah, like it's do or die.
It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah, oh my god.
So that's the case. So for me, I found out about this only at the 4th year. So I still had time. A lot of people would start from their 3rd years. But, you know, people would start also at their 4th year. So then, okay, so looking for a job, there are many, many ways as well.
Okay.
You would go to job fairs, look online. So look at the companies and apply at their websites, or there are like online job hunting portals and stuff like that. Well, anyway, so before actually going to the job fairs, there's proper interview etiquette here in Japan. So you would have to wear this like job hunting suit. So
job hunting suit?
Yeah, so it's like
what do you mean?
It's a black suit with a collared tie, but you can only wear 2 colors. It's either red or blue, and you have a white shirt. And it's not like a regular suit. You can tell that it's for job hunting. So you know someone is job hunting when you see that person in that suit, basically.
Okay, so do you guys have like a place to buy it or rent it?
Yeah, like people buy it. I had to
so
buy
you
one.
bought yours. Yeah. You bought it from a shop that says this is for job hunting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a whole industry, I feel.
Oh.
Yes.
And then what color was your tie?
Mine was blue.
Okay.
Blue person.
Does it matter?
I don't know, actually.
Interesting.
I actually don't know. But yeah, it can't be another color. So once you're set with that suit, and your hair should also be prim and proper. It can't be like all over the place. If you can see my hair right now, it's not supposed to be this way. I have a fro going on. I mean, yeah. So once you have everything done, you would have to know how to write your resume and your entry sheet. And a lot of people go to seminars for these.
What's an entry sheet?
Okay, so that's a good question because here in Japan, aside from the resumes, you have to write an entry sheet. So it's basically an online resume of sorts.
Oh, okay.
So it's a preliminary kind of thing. And it's how you would, show yourself to the company. And a lot of people get denied at the entry sheet stage.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
that's hard.
It's very hard, yeah. So once you get past the entry sheet stage and companies actually selected you, you'd have to take this thing called an SPI.
SPI? What's that?
I don't know. It's probably Japanese English. So I'll ask you, Jer, what do you think this is? It's called a synthetic personality inventory.
Synthetic, meaning like plastic or fake? Fake personality inventory. What?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't. Yeah, me neither. So anyway, it's an aptitude test.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's an.
So once you pass like the entry sheet level, you then have to take an aptitude test.
Yeah. It depends on the company. Okay. So each company has different processes. So sometimes an interview would come first. Sometimes the aptitude test would come first. It really depends.
Okay. Yeah.
So check the process.
Okay.
But yeah, so an aptitude test. So here, it's not just a regular aptitude test for your personality. It's also, it tests your language capabilities, your math capabilities.
And
everything. So the thing is, Jer, you have to take this in Japanese for most companies. Taking math in Japanese, that's not just regular Japanese. I'm like, and the last time I took math was like,
oh no, that's so hard.
Or more years ago. I don't know.
Ooh, I can't even pass like English math.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry about that, but yeah, for most, I don't think I passed either. Like, it was so difficult, but I got rejected. I failed a lot of these tests, and I think some companies just allowed me, although I failed. I don't know. Maybe they just like...
maybe because it's not... the math part isn't even related to the job.
I don't know. Maybe they're just lenient towards foreigners because they really need foreigners. So I don't know. It really depends on the company and their standards. So
okay, I have a quick question though. Like you mentioned that some people take trainings and seminars prior to this. Like, did you do that?
Yes, I had to. Okay.
So to prepare yourself.
So good question because the next part would be interviews. And what I took was for interviews. Because here in Japan, there are different kinds of interviews. There are 3 kinds of interviews that I know of personally. One is the group interview.
Okay.
So in the group interview, you are interviewed with usually 5 different other applicants.
Oh my gosh, at the same time?
At the same time. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so daunting.
I know, tension's high and everything, and you compare yourself to other people.
Ooh,
and then like
that's the worst.
Diba, I'm like also I'm not Japanese, so I would be shaky and everything. I would be so nervous and whatever.
Ooh. Like, would you compare yourself and really know, like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna get that job?
You would know
because
because, you know, some people are really good at speaking and they're Japanese, so just like, you know, they're leveled up immediately.
Oh, that's so bad for you.
So I actively avoided companies that had group interviews because I knew I wouldn't like, you know, I was just really scared as well.
Yeah, that would be so stressful. Like, I mean, a normal interview is already nerve-wracking, and then comparing yourself to other people, that's just,
my gosh, it was just, I can't. The Japanese people, it's like an audition, you know, to some extent. It's like you're performing. Yeah, so...
that is exactly what it is, like an audition.
Yeah, so I'm like... Anyway, so another type is group discussions. So in this setting, you are grouped with other applicants. So there are many applicants in the room, like 50 to 100s at a time. And then you are grouped together and you would tackle this topic, like a problem. You're given a problem and then you solve it together as a group.
How many people per group?
That time it was like 5 in my group.
Okay.
And, you know, you have to present it afterwards. So plus points for the person presenting, of course, because, you know, they're brave enough to do it. You have to really just, it's like a competition between yourselves as well, as much as it is competition against other groups.
That's so hard.
Yeah.
So during like the group work, is there a regulator person who watches the group do their thing?
Oh, there are people like going around looking at people and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah,
so that means I can't slack off and
I mean, if you slack off, you're probably just not gonna get through.
Yeah, so do you guys review each other at the end? Like, hey, this person didn't do much. Like, I felt he didn't contribute or what?
The ones that I don't remember.
Did you guys do that?
The ones that I did, we just had to submit our names with the material that we presented. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, usually those that they find like had a good idea would go through.
And then you have to battle between your own group members.
Well, I mean, the purpose is for you to shine, right? So you really want to shine in the group. So it's like you're being competitive, but then you also want to bring each other up because it's teamwork. If you don't get a good idea, you all fail. So
that's such a unique way of interviewing, and it's very stressful, I can imagine.
I mean, they're cutting people right from the start. Yeah. I think it's actually interesting. I mean, I don't want to experience it again though, but
it's one time's enough.
Yeah. So, I mean, for companies in the Philippines who are listening, maybe you can try it out. No, I'm sorry. Just kidding. It's
all of the future applicants will hate you if that happens.
I'm sorry. Just kidding, guys. So the last type of interview, and I think it's the most common interview, is the single man-to-man interview. And these are the ones I'm more comfortable with, I would say. For companies, you would know like if they accept just man-to-man interviews. So those are the companies I tried for most. But the interview process here, so that's why I took a seminar for this, is that it's really special.
Ooh.
So as much as it was like an audition for the group interviews, this is sort of like a performance kind of thing as well.
Damn.
Yeah, so here in Japan, there's a proper way to enter the room. There's a proper way to present yourself. And there's a proper way to like answer questions and everything. There's so many things that you need to learn. So,
oh my god.
So just to give you an idea, so this is what I had to do. So before an interview, you also have to prepare how to enter the room. So usually for us, you would just go in and like, you know, shake people's hands and everything, right?
Yeah. Like
make a good impression from the start. If you do that here, you're like, no, you're out from the start. So
what do you have to do then?
So first you need to knock. This is important. You just can't go into the room. You have to knock 3 times.
What?
Yeah.
Why is there a specific 3? Why not
because
two?
They say here in Japan, when you knock 2 times, it's a toilet knock. You're knocking to check if someone's in the toilet. So it's really rude if you knock just twice.
What?
Intense,
Okay.
right? So
Damn.
knock 3 times.
Yeah, that's so specific.
So after that, you have to say "shitsurei shimasu," which means "please excuse me" or "I'm gonna be rude" or something like that. There's no really good direct translation for it, but yeah, you have to say that, and then wait for them to call you in.
Okay, so you can't just like knock and then open the door.
And you have to say it loud enough so that they would hear it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
damn.
then you enter. And then you need to stand by the door and say "shitsurei shimasu" again, and then bow. Yeah.
Again. Ooh.
And bow. And
I'm nervous just hearing you say these things. Like just now I'm tense. Like, oh my gosh, what if I make a mistake or something?
Okay, just a side note, like I have this Apple Watch and it measures your pulse, right? And then it just like alarmed me because my heart rate was so high and I wasn't moving.
Oh my god.
And it was like asking me, are you having a stroke or something? Like something like that.
No way.
And I was just really nervous and everything, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, you poor thing.
That was going on the sidelines, but yeah. So you stand there and then you bow. And in Japan, there are different kinds of bows. There's like a slight bow when you're greeting someone, and there's this like a 45-degree bow, a 30-degree bow. There are different levels of bowing, so you need to do a proper bow.
And the proper bow is?
A 30-degree bow, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but yeah, it's a 30-degree bow.
I'm bad at math, so I won't be able to correct you.
A 30-degree angle. If you go 35, that's... No, I'm just kidding.
If you go 21, I'm sorry.
Anyway, so, and your hands have to be at the side. For guys, I think, I don't know if the girls would also have their hands in the side. It's different per gender.
Wow, there are different things for genders as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Oof.
And then after you bow,
you
need to, they're going to call you in to the seat. You can't just go to the seat. So the situation is there's a seat in the middle of the room, and then there's a panel right in front of it. So usually it's a panel of 2, 3, 4, 5. It depends on the company. So once you get to the seat, you can't just sit down. You have to say your name and introduce yourself briefly.
Oh.
And then, after you do that, you need to make a bow again.
The 30-degree bow.
Yeah, the 30-degree bow. And then they would tell you to sit down. And then that's when the interview starts.
Oh, that's a lot of steps.
That's a lot of steps just to get to the chair.
Yeah, so you're telling me if I missed one of those steps that they would like not consider me.
That points out of your tally.
Like, so, she bowed 29 degrees. I'm gonna subtract her points. Like, I don't like her bow.
I don't like her bow.
Why did she knock 2 times? I'm not in a toilet.
But the thing is, I don't know how like objective like these things are. Because to some extent, it would be very subjective.
I'm sure it is. Because I mean, yeah, if people like go to seminars just to learn these things, I'm sure it's really important.
Yeah, it really is, because it really shows how prepared you are.
Damn.
And
what a trick.
I know, it is.
Just to get to the chair.
Just to get to the chair. I don't know if like some companies would like, oh, that's wrong, get out, you don't even get to the chair.
Okay, you're done.
You're done, bye.
It's stress.
Yeah, it's super stressful. And the interview process here, I don't know if it's the same in the Philippines, but you're being tested as well about how much you know about the company, how much you know about the position, what kind of position you want to take, how well the company did. Like, they really ask you, and they really try to know how much you know about the company, how much you really want to be in that company, and how much you can contribute. So before you were saying like you need to give concrete examples of what you did or like, but apart from that, you would really have to know about the company. If they see that if you didn't really do your research, that's bigger points off of you.
So you like have to read their website, know their company objective, mission and vision and stuff like that. In the Philippines, that's pretty normal as well, but they don't make it a point to like quiz you and stuff, but it's good to know that you know about the company.
I would have embarrassing like interviews too, like where they just like, I don't think you're doing well at this point. Maybe they would correct me, like they would say like if you had prepared more about this and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they'd say it to your face.
And they'd say it to my
like,
face, yeah.
Well, How did you feel though? Like,
I experienced it twice and I was like, what a
did
way
you
to
cry
like,
after?
I was really, I was like beating myself up. I'm the type to like beat myself up for things like these. But then, but for me, I just took it as a learning experience and it was life or death for me, basically. If I didn't get a job, I would be going home.
Yeah, I think some people though would have preferred to know if they didn't get the job on the spot.
Yeah,
because instead of like waiting for weeks and months and not hearing back, but still being hopeful, you're like, oh, maybe they could still hire me and stuff. But you know, when they say it to your face, like it hurts, man.
It hurts, yeah, it really does.
It hurts so bad.
Yeah, there was one time like they rejected me because like my JLPT, my Japanese level, at that time I only had an N2. So this was way before. So I tried and then they were like, if only I had an N1. And I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, but you're already hearing my Japanese and if this is okay, you know I'd improve later on. But yeah, they really just want it on paper. So I'm like,
that's sad.
Yeah. They're like, maybe you can try when you get the N1. And I'm like, okay. So that means it's only because of the N1 that I wasn't able to get it, huh?
Well, at least, I mean, you knew you were good for that interview and stuff. It was just like your paper.
I don't know. Maybe they were just, being kind and rejecting me that way. It was an easier way to reject, I guess. I don't know. This is me just thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah. So.
What a trek. I mean, the interview things in Japan, they're on a different level, man. Like,
yes. Okay. I'm not even finished there. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. There's more.
Yeah, there's more.
There's more.
So here, it's not just the regular type of Japanese that you need to use in interviews.
Oh my. So there's a different
kind of Japanese that, it's called Keigo. And there's different levels there's 3 levels. It's usually the desmas form of the Keigo. It's just polite, really polite. Teinego. And then there's like Kenjogo and Sonkeigo, like the really formal honorifics of Japanese. And these two are the Japanese that you need to use during interviews. And Japanese people have to learn this as well. So it's not natural to them as well because it's really difficult. Okay. And a lot of them make mistakes when they do this.
Damn. So imagine being a foreigner and then learning Keigo.
And learning, so it was an extra step for us.
Yeah.
To be able to like, be just proper for an interview.
Yeah.
So my gosh, like everything that you need to prepare. So from the start, like preparing for the company, then doing that performance thing that you need to do, and researching for the company, and like learning how to speak Keigo. Those are like you need to like go through all those barriers just to be able to get to the final interview.
And then you don't get the job.
And then you don't get the job. Yeah.
Wow.
I was rejected
Japan's
so many times.
on a different level.
Yeah. I was rejected so many times.
Yeah.
And I was able to go to final interviews. You feel confident in everything, but then you get rejected and like...
Oh, fudge.
Yeah, it was really harsh, but it was a good learning experience and I was able to find a job, so...
So when were you able to get a job? Like, was it during that one time period or was it the next year after that? Like, when
actually,
was it?
I tried looking for jobs before entering the university. So I started Japanese language school first. And then during that time, I also started looking for a job.
Okay.
But then I wasn't able to get it because, my Japanese level was still not there.
Yeah.
Went into university. I got a scholarship at a university. And then for that period, I was able to find it.
You're so good then. I
don't know. I mean, I worked really hard for it. I went through the seminars and everything.
Wow, you did such a great job to go through all of that. Like, wow.
You really need grit and you just really need to be persevering. Persevering. What's that word?
Yeah,
my English is going out the drain.
Yeah, because just you telling me the interview process made me feel stressed and anxious. Like
me just remembering it, I also have like cold sweat. In this hot
so
weather,
scary.
imagine. Yeah.
Wow, thank you, Kuya Hel, for sharing all of that because it was so interesting for me. Like, I didn't know that Japan had that level of interviews and job requirements. Like, it's on a totally different level.
Yes.
And when I thought Australia was hard, Japan is so difficult. Yeah. It's like boss level of interviews. I just can't imagine.
Yeah, it's like an RPG. Exactly.
Yeah. So I think like a lot of people, would be interested to know your tips and your tricks and how you were able to get the job and like do all of that. Like that's really admirable, and I'm so proud of you for being able to go through that. Good job.
Yeah, it was just a disclaimer. This is just based on my experience and from the experience. Yeah, for one, I would just say really prepare and practice really hard for these interviews, especially if you're a foreigner looking for a job. You really need to step up your game and show them that you're trying hard. I think in Japan, they would still be a bit lenient towards foreigners. They would understand that we don't speak the language. It's not our first language. I think we are treated more leniently in that sense, but it really depends on the company.
Yeah, still bowel petics.
Yeah, bowel petics. That's so true.
Yeah.
So just, go for, do the extra mile, go for the extra mile and just show them what you can do. So like what I said a while ago, really know your keigo, like the interview etiquette, because that's also plus points for you. And okay, so this one tip, actually, because I already gave so many tips a while ago, here's another tip that I have for people. So as I was saying, my perspective was from a exchange student going into a full-time job. So for those who are coming from the Philippines, I'm sure it's a different process, and I'm not really familiar with that process. But here in Japan, if you're a student or if you're of another visa type status, you can also try looking for jobs through recruiters.
Oh, recruiters.
Yeah, recruiters.
So that's a thing there. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like headhunters. I don't know what you call them in other countries. So,
headhunters.
Yeah, so here, it can actually help you out, like cut the lines. It's easier for you to like cut some of the processes and everything. And I was able to use some, and some of my job offers came from the recruiter routes. So,
okay.
Yeah, but the thing with recruiters though, they pick you more than you pick them because they're really looking for the right candidate for the company.
Yeah.
Not all of the recruiters will be willing to help you out, especially if you don't fit the criteria. So, with that, you really need to step up your game as well. So it's not just an easy path.
Yeah, and do you have to pay for that?
Oh, that's a good question. So it really depends on the type. And from what I heard, so this is from a friend of mine, contractual visas, you would have to pay for it yourself through your salary. So it's going to be deducted from your salary or something like that. But then if you come in full time, the company actually pays for you.
Ooh,
yeah, so...
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, you don't really have to pay for... You won't really feel it that much. So I recommend recruiters because they really help out, especially if you're going in full time.
At least the company pays for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Cool.
So I guess like those are the biggest tips that I have, like aside from the tips that I have. I just said
those are really helpful. Like, I mean, for people who are listening who want to go to Japan, at least now they know they have to go through all these things and they can prepare in advance and, you know, like mentally prepare themselves for what's to come and physically. That was really good. I really enjoyed this episode. I learned so much from you and about the job hunting thing in Japan. Like, I would not survive Japan.
Yeah, I don't think I'll survive.
I wouldn't be hired. If you stuck until the very end, thank you for listening because I have a very special update. So, I'm happy to say I am now employed. Yay!
So happy for you, Jer.
Thank you. After 3 months of unemployment and misery and crying.
Misery? I mean, there was something good that came out of this, right? No?
Yeah. Yes.
The
like
podcast.
This podcast. Yes.
Yeah. But you're going to be busy from now on.
Yeah. So,
Whoa.
Yeah, so I'm going to be busy with work because it's going to be 5 days a week and sometimes it carries over the weekend. So I may or may not be able to record with Kuya Kyle as much or as regularly. But don't worry, I'm still here. I'm still gonna do it as much as I can, but Kuya Kyle will have his own thing with the podcast, and he can, bring other guests on here.
Yes.
So it's not gonna be me on the reg. All right?
Jeri will still be part of this.
Yeah.
But we will only be expanding the distant relative network.
Ayy.
Yes. And as Jeri said, we will be welcoming more people to join us in our conversation and give us different perspectives because, I think that would be a good dimension for us, right, Jeri?
Yes. And, it's good to know more people and listen to how they think and how they feel and what their experiences are. So, yes.
Well, this is not yet set in stone and we're not really sure what's gonna happen. We're still planning things out, but expect some changes to come. But overall...
Yeah, and don't miss me too much.
Yeah. I'll miss you though, Jeri. Yeah, overall, we just want to continue with this project of ours the best way we can. So please look forward to it.
Well said, Kuya Kyle. So, to wrap this up, we're also on Instagram. It's at Distant Relatives, the podcast. Please follow us and leave a comment. We've been getting some suggestions from everyone regarding topics that we can cover. So keep on commenting. Who knows? Your suggestion could be our next episode.
That is right. And if you have questions for us, you can also contact us at the email on the description below. We're also on Facebook. So please follow us. It will really help us out.
Yes. Okay, so let's wrap this up, Kuya Kyle.
Yep, okay, so this has been Distant Relatives, and even if life abroad gets hard,
you don't have to go through it alone. Bye!
Bye.